Man, ain't nobody got no time to be playing, man. I want to jump right into it. It's a beautiful Monday, right? My question to you is fans freedom and political views. Where do we draw the line as black people, right? I want to talk about Nicki Minaj going to Turning Point USA for the convention, right? We all saw it. All the black people saw it. I waited a couple of weeks to see how the algorithm was going to play it and see how people felt about it. And I want to see my opinion into y'all is how do y'all feel about her taking that stance and appearing up on the stage with Charlie Kirk's widow? Some will say she knows how those people feel about us. But then others will say she's exercising her right to support a candidate, regardless of how you feel about that candidate, no different than when Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B supported Kamala Harris. Now, of course, the views of the candidate may make a difference with you, and I respect that. But I'm just here curious to see how you feel about the Nicki Minaj situation and why is this the final straw for you if you black, right? Why is Nicki Minaj appearing with Turning Point USA the final straw for a lot of black people? And then I also, when it comes to Nicki Minaj, I see a lot of people saying, well, she's with that person. Like a lot of times we as black people, sometimes we get our politics set and based off emotion. And it's like emotion is good, but emotion can't guide our intellect, right? Now, do I agree with the people she's sitting up there with and everything that they view about? No. But I also feel like in America, you really got the right to vote for who the fuck you want to. At the end of the day, you still gonna be black, right? So if you think your vote impacts your life that much, exercise it, right? But I'm just so shocked. But when people say this is the last straw for Nicki Minaj, well, if she would have supported Kamala Harris, would you still be in support of her? So we don't really care about the subject matter of the music. We just care about who she's voting for, who she's not voting for. Same thing with Cardi B, right? And this is kind of a weird situation. But like with Nicki, she called Cardi B's kids names. They had real vulgar messages towards each other. So if you was her fan through that, you mean to tell me now all of a sudden seeing her at Turning Point USA is the reason you can't be her fan no more? I don't understand it. I don't really see the logic in it. So I'm just trying to get to where people coming from with this reasoning about cutting her off. Now, don't get me wrong, like, I'm a strong believer in the cut somebody off game if they make you feel a certain type of way. But my question is about, we put so much stock in our entertainers to have a political view that we agree with. And so that's why we put them on too much of a pedestal when they do. And then we villainize them to the extreme when they don't, right? So just because, like, you could be a Democrat, right? But seeing Nicki Minaj up there with Turning Point, even if it affected you, right? That can't affect you no different than seeing Megan Thee Stallion twerk in front of all these old ladies in the name of getting you to vote Democrat. This is what I'm saying. As black people, we got to have the agenda be us and have some understanding about maybe the differences of opinion. Now, in my opinion, I got a rule too, right? I'm not really surprised when people that don't have black American grandmothers kind of go hard and heavy with the white folks. You know what I mean? Because, like, I think she's Trinidadian, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people who got, grandparents who, from the Caribbean and, you know, foreign countries and stuff like that, they think that by associating with the right whites, they can kind of put themselves in a class above Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really shocked when a foreign person says some wild shit when it comes to Black liberation, because they don't. How do you know Black liberation and your grandmother was born in Trinidad, or your grandfather was born in Cuba, or your grandfather was born in Nigeria or something? Like, how are you gonna speak to me about what the Black liberation means in the United States? So she didn't disappoint me because I never expected nothing from her, right? So maybe that's my question to the Black community. How are we as a system so to the point that we disappointed that Nicki Minaj is supporting somebody we don't like, right? You know what I mean? Like, so how are we gonna ever get out that understanding? How can we get to that understanding where it's like, yeah, she makes great music. Yeah, that monster verse was crazy. Yeah, she can rap her ass off. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm not so emotionally caught up on who this woman's voting for or not voting for. Like, I just don't give a fuck, bro. And like, if y'all wasn't mad about that lady calling Cardi B kids roaches or whatever she said about her kids, just like y'all wasn't mad about Cardi B calling Black women roaches and saying she drug niggas, but because she pro Kamala Harris, y'all embrace her as a Black woman. At the end of the day, we Black Americans sitting up here, putting all our stock and all our emotional ties into two women that's propped up in the hip hop culture that don't have Black American grandparents. I don't give a fuck about who Cardi B or who Nicki Minaj votes for. Their stake in the United States is not as high as mine. And that's what Black Americans gonna have to understand before we be so emotional about these fucking rappers and entertainers, bro. Like, we put too much moral stock and high ground into somebody because they can rap or jump or tackle somebody or hit a baseball. Like, no, what is your standing on what it means for you to be a Black American? Don't just pimp hip hop like other races pimp hip hop, right? Because at the end of the day, that's all these foreigners. You can't tell me you love hip hop. You pimping it. You use it, right? So Nicki Minaj used hip hop to put herself in an elevated status. She played the roundaway girl role, put herself in an elevated status, right? She's displayed her passion, her talent throughout her career, but she's also displayed some mental inconsistencies, right? She said some vulgar things. Shit, her, if I ain't mistaken, I think a couple of her family members got some crazy cases. So all I'm saying is, if that, whatever it may be, if that didn't disparage you from listening to her music, don't start now, right? We too control emotionally, right? Like, I didn't respect Cardi B more because she endorsed Kamala Harris, right? That's what I'm saying. We looking for people who ain't been Black 40 years to lead a Black movement, right? Why do I want the opinion on Black American politics or what it takes for me to survive in this country, right? From somebody who grandfather grew up, you know, making a quarter a month. Like, I don't give a fuck about your opinion. So I don't care if it's Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. We shouldn't even be caring about who they endorse for president because they ain't us. But we so wrapped up into the ideology of feeling safe as Black people. We want the safest white person, right? As opposed to feeling like, hey, these are the rights we want as a community, be it Republican or a Democrat. We as a people should be united. So ain't nobody else. You couldn't get Yo-Yo to sit down with Cardi B. You couldn't get Queen Latifah to sit down with Cardi. Like, I mean, not Cardi B. Sit down with Kamala Harris. Like, you couldn't do a pod where somebody whose grandparents was born in America, great grandparents was Black Americans, and get them to sit down and interview Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, right? Can we get a man who has a lineage of a Black wife and his father had a Black wife and his grandfather had a Black wife? Can we get those type of guys in political spaces to speak up for Black Americans, right? Because again, I don't really care about Nicki Minaj's political opinion enough to get upset about it. And that's not saying whether I agree or disagree with it. The same way I didn't care about Cardi B's political opinion enough to get upset about it, right? I think just as offended as somebody could be, say they are from Nicki Minaj going up there with Turning Point USA, the same Black person could say, well, I'm offended seeing Megan Thee Stallion shake her ass in the name of getting me to vote. What is that saying about, what is either saying about my intellectual property or propensity to make my own decisions as a Black person if I'm worried about some rapping chick shaking her ass to get me to vote? Or I'm worried about Cardi B, who is Latino and called Black women roaches, saying vote for this woman. Or I'm worried about Nicki Minaj, who then told us how she felt about certain issues and in the community, and she say vote for this woman. Neither one of them should get you emotional, right? We got to be grounded in Blackness. We got to be grounded in culture. We got to be grounded in intellect and grounded in solidarity to the point where we're not just worried about what some celebrity doing with a granddaddy that was born in a fucking mud hut. I don't care about your opinion. And I think, listen, white people have been saying wild shit since the beginning of time, right? And at the end of the day, the white people that say wild shit are dangerous. I think that can be admitted and honest, right? But we can also be honest enough to say that the conditions of Black people are going to pretty much remain the same regardless of somebody saying wild shit or some shit that we want to hear, right? So that's kind of my point. Now, our education, our women being struck down by the laws, you know, a lot of women in color losing their government jobs, losing their positions. That is something, to me, I thought Nicki Minaj had more of a pulse on with Black womanhood, that I thought she would have stood firmer in her bones about posing with that administration. But again, it doesn't surprise me. She's a rapper from fucking Trinidad, bro. Like, at some point, when did we Americans start letting guests come in the house to make the macaroni and cheese, man? I don't give a fuck if it's these streamers. I don't give a fuck if it's these white YouTubers, these bloggers, these documentary makers. When did we start valuing the opinion of people who had to imitate our culture? People send me comments all the time. Hey man, talk about this. Talk about, it's a situation right now where Glasses Malone, shout out to the Loke, man, to them boys over there on that side, was defending Dolce, right? Everybody knows the artist Dolce. She's a very talented young lady who kind of ascended through the ranks. And I'm glad to see her be talented and creative. I haven't agreed with everything she said, but I agree with her to be a dark-skinned chocolate girl in America that's culturally leading the movement and culturally getting her flowers, right? I'm so sick of every time they put a hip hop and R&B girl out, a new R&B girl out, or a new rapper out, they racially ambiguous. I'm so happy to see chocolate Black girls get out there and win. The scissors, you know what I'm saying? the the Doechis. I'm glad to see somebody like Doechii get her Grammys, being unapologetically black, right? I'm so sick of the racially ambiguous Marias and girls who pop and try to act like they speak in Ebonics and AAVE. Nah, I'm sick of that, man. Let me see somebody in that motherfucker with some elbows dark like mine. And so I've always been an advocate of Doechii getting her props. You know, she reminds me of her creativity. I know it's not to the large scale as large, but she reminds me of Missy Elliott when she kind of was in her doing her thing just from a creative standpoint. But anyway, I digress. A white dude, a streamer, I won't mention his name because that's not my algorithm. But he had been saying negative stuff about her, stuff like that. And so Glasses Malone went on a tirade. He defended her, you know, said he was gonna get to the dude about disrespecting this black woman. And it was good to see that energy, right? It's good to see a divide in culture, but it needs to be a bigger one, right? Black people need to reset themselves, and we can't reset ourselves until we get rid of everything that's toxic in our culture that's not us, right? And I'll give you an example. Say hip hop is your family, right? And I'm talking to Black Americans, people whose grandparents was born in America, right? If your grandparents weren't born in America, sit this conversation out. But say hip hop is your house, right? And say you let a couple of families come stay in your house, but this whole house is yours. You own it, right? So you let a family come from Canada. You let a white family come. You let all type of families come, right? And you and your brother and your sister start having real eternal problems, right? At some point to fix them problems, them guests gotta go, right? They gotta go, right? And black culture is to the point where we are at a life or death tumultuous position where the guests just gotta go. Like, why the fuck am I on the internet if I know I'm black, bro, and I know my grandma walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge? Why am I arguing? Why would I ever get on the internet and argue with a 20-some-year-old white man about rap? Why would I argue with a Mexican that think he got the right to say nigga about hip hop? No, you arguing with somebody who wants to be you. No, man, let's excommunicate all this foreign clutter in the rap game and then take it a step further and excommunicate the black people that communicate with these people. For us to walk at a higher frequency, we got to demean and avoid some of the lower frequency activity that's permeating our kids' brains, right? And some of these racist streamers and potters that attack black women, or some of these potters, these foreigners who come over here and they want to play the both ways games. And I just want to tell y'all a few things, right? If you say blacks have no culture, black Americans, that's cool, man. I know that's a way to get you some clicks from some niggas that's mad that they had to come over here and kick it with our shit, right? Well, we don't own nothing. That's cool, man. Whatever you want to say, right? But when you say words like chill and homie and my nigga and dog, what are we doing? And hey, yo, and she tripping. 95% of any word you say comes from Black American culture, right? So before you come over here and, man, my nigga, hey, chat, hey, what are we doing, chat? Hey, man, yo, hey, chat, oh, I'm fucked up, get the fuck out. Hey, 95% of it can be traced to the Black American ghettos, man. Like, so don't come over here being a disrespectful guest in our house. And like I said, I don't have to argue with you about your right to cosplay as a Black American, right? I don't have to, because I know I'm black for real. So why would I even acknowledge your attempt at imitation? And that's what I'm trying to tell some of these streamers, these potters, these YouTube channels, man. Like, stop interviewing these weirdos, my nigga. Like, all views ain't good views. Have some dignity, right? Like, how you gonna interview a Mexican nigga that's gonna get in your face and tell you I'm gonna keep saying nigga? It ain't $1 million that would allow me to do that, right? How you gonna be a black streamer unless you a nigga? I think you a nigga. Your grandparents from Sudan or some shit. But how you gonna be a black American streamer, bro? With grandmamas and grandkids and grandparents and great grandparents from Louisiana and Mississippi, and you getting up in here shucking and jiving with a white dude online that's calling black women out their name or saying racist shit. See, and before any of you convolute this with what I said about Nicki, because I also said I don't expect no political representation from somebody whose grandparents weren't born in America. How can you identify with the black American struggle or put it first? And your great grandparents weren't here for Jim Crow, they weren't here for Reconstruction, weren't here for the Harlem Renaissance. They weren't here for redlining and the highways being built through black cities. So why should I acknowledge your opinion from a political standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, from a music standpoint, from an attention standpoint? Ignore these fucking weirdos and then start putting a social bounty, not a dangerous bounty, let's make that clear, but a social bounty. Okay, you cool with the weirdos? Let's block this name from our algorithm. Because that's how you got to do it. That's how you treat it. Man, you can go to any app you own and you can type in keywords. I don't never want to hear the word apple pie. I'm trying to lose weight. That's how y'all got to do these rappers, these streamers, these weirdos that's knocking on your door to come in your house and tell you what black culture is. And I wish I would. I don't care if I got to stand alone and grow old by myself with this viewpoint. Man, I wish I would let a motherfucker who granddaddy from Africa, Mexico, the islands, the Caribbean, Jamaica, tell me about hip hop. I don't care how much you study it. You can study it till your eyes pop out your head. You never gonna have the soul of someone who grandma walked through Georgia to vote. It's just not the same. So that's why our kids are so dysfunctional about what it means to be black and how important black women are to society, how important the black community is, and how important culture is. We got to defend and protect our culture. And then once we do that, we ain't got to be, again, why is Nicki Minaj and Cardi B speaking up for black people anyway? Let's be 100% real. Like that right there is predicated on low self-esteem. I don't give a fuck what they got to say. Like real shit. Like they make some music, the music good, they listen, I don't attack them, they women, I don't attack their personal lives. I wish them all the best. And I respect their right to have a political choice. But man, I don't give a fuck about a Trinidadian and a whatever Cardi B is, Spanish chick, political ideas. And I watch my aunties grow up playing double dutch. No. Like, that's the thing. Like, we get this whole muddy people in color interpretation and we all one and it's us versus. No, man. It is black Americans' race to preserve the legacy of black Americans. Like, we just let anybody in our house. We let anybody put their feet up. We let anybody get a piece of the pie. We let people tell us they comfortable saying nigga. It ain't offensive. Are you fucking serious? And I tell you what, right? You want to say the N-word, you Spanish. I'm old, bro. I'm not gonna do nothing to you. I wouldn't even be in a position where somebody could do something to you. I wouldn't even play like that, right? I don't do that. But all I'm telling you is if you waiting on somebody to prove, you want to prove to me you tough saying the N-word, say it in jail, right? If you can go to jail or prison and you white or you Hispanic or you Indian or you some other racially ambiguous mutt that think you got to claim the hip hop because you know 18 Drake songs, I want you to really go to prison and start saying the N-word. Because what happens is y'all get in y'all little pockets. Oh man, I got 88 homies in Dallas and they say nigger too. I'm not talking about them, bro. Because see, the thing about me, I can say the N-word. I can say it in Baltimore. I can say it in Chicago. I can say it in Houston. I can say it in Miami. I can say it in the middle of Wichita, Kansas. And ain't nobody going to say nothing to me, right? But if you know you only cool as an imposter, saying the N-word, acting all ghetto around your pocket of black friends, them ain't really your friends, S.A. You know what I mean? Them ain't really your friends. You know what I mean? I got a ton of Mexican friends and we all conduct ourselves like we got some sense. I couldn't even respect you as a Mexican if you walked up to me and was like, "Hey, what's up, my nigga? You serious?" Like, if I walked into my Mexican friend house and it wasn't a costume party, and I got on a fucking pair of Wranglers, tight ass Wranglers, and a belt buckle, and a cowboy hat, some cowboy boots, and I'm playing some music I ain't never played before, he gonna think I'm playing with him. He gonna think I'm mocking him. He gonna think I'm insulting his intelligence. So what you think I think about a Mexican that want to put on chains and rapping? It's the same thing, bro. If I go into an African party, bro, and instead of dressing like how I would normally dress for a regular party, unless it's a wedding and it's coordinated, I go to African club, I go to Caribbean club. I go in there with my Americanized ass, bro, my Black American ass. And I started trying to sing they dance and do they dances better than them. And then I started telling them, nah, this is wrong. And the reason y'all over here in this third world country is this or that. Them folks is gonna look at me like a fucking fool, right? So why are we not, as Black people, looking at people who mock our culture in the same light? That's no different than Weird Al Yankovic, bro. When I hear these dudes on here trying to get a rouse out of y'all by saying nigga, or trying to get a rouse out of y'all by attacking Black women, or trying to get a rouse out of y'all by calling Black women roaches, I'm not disappointed by them. I don't give a fuck about them. I'm disappointed in the Black people to make excuses for it. I'm disappointed in the Black people who are so pussyfied now that we just don't know how to tell motherfuckers to get the fuck out of our culture. And you ain't got to be mean on the internet. You just block niggas. Block names. Yo, I don't want to, hey, yo, they promoting too much shit. You know what I mean? It's like the third blog post I done seen with this dude calling Doechii out her name. Let me just block everything that comes up with dude. You ain't got to clout chase and try to go viral or say a motherfucking name. Try to go viral. None of that goofy shit. Cause me, see, I'm a all money ain't good money type of internet dude. Cause I'm on the internet to drop game from the people that want it. I'm not on the internet to chase likes, chase fame, chase 10 million views. I don't need this shit to pay my bills. I'm really on here to drop jewels. So if they get received, cool. But if they don't, you never gonna see me sit with a clown debating shit that I don't respect. I could have been at 20 million views already 3 years ago. If I was willing to just get up there with some niggas I thought was ignorant baboons, I'd have been the most famous nigga on the internet already. But I'd rather come on the internet and be me, right? And stand on my principles, so that way I don't care if you go back to my first video, my videos in the middle of my video yesterday, I'm still spitting that real shit, and I'm not coming in here. I'm not gonna get up there and sit up there and make content with no slapstick court jester who grandparents weren't born in America. I don't give a fuck about you. Like, your opinion in hip hop is irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant to real niggas. And we need more real niggas saying, hey, look, Glass is telling the dude that's cool, right? But we need more niggas cutting off the niggas that's next to these niggas. That's when the fun gonna start, right? That's when the fun gonna start. When we can actively, as a Black private, Black American community, start saying, you know what? This nigga been doing a lot of shucking and jiving. Let's ignore this nigga. Let's boycott every product he got. Let's boycott everything he a part of and let him be over there with them folks totally. See, that's how I used to do beat back in my day, right? If a dude was a straight sellout, niggas didn't be like, no, come back. We was like, okay, well, we will let them show you, right? You turning your back on your community, we will let them show you. At some point, Black people became too forgiving, too polite, too kind with our culture and our slang, and the internet did it a lot. You know, we created something on the internet, we created something in real life, and then when the internet came, it took away the process of things having to grow organically from the hood in the Black community. That's why now Every race of girl, when she want to act cool, she gonna do what she think a teenage black girl is gonna be doing. So we the most imitated, but we the most hated, right? So at some point, when you know you the culture that shifts culture forward, why are you worried about the opinion of somebody that's got to imitate you? I just don't see the logic, and I hope my people can one day get there with me, and then we can build a wall around what we have because we don't have to worry about what they imitate because we the ones that create. All they do is imitate and give it to a larger base of people. But the genius is us. The creativity is us. The sauce is in us. So again, I wasn't mad about Nicki Minaj doing that. Was I shocked? Yeah, but I don't. Again, man, I don't care if it's Byron Daniels from Florida, bro. If I read about you doing some shit that I feel kind of somewhat, I don't even want to say coonish. That's too basic of a word. Just idiotic, imbecilic, right? Because you can be cool with white people. You can have the same views as white people, right? You can have the same conservative views. You can have the same 2A views. I know a lot of black pro 2A men. I know a lot of black men who associate with a lot of people of other races, but they still have a set of core principles as a black man that they don't let themselves be violated by, right? I know dudes who hang with blacks and whites who probably should be arrested for treason in the black community. So it ain't just about who somebody hang with, it's about the dignity. But when I see somebody say something that's just beyond of reality for a black American, then I automatically know this motherfucker granddaddy came on here on the back of a motherfucking carnival door. You know what I'm saying? This nigga was a stowaway. This nigga swam over here. This nigga traded 32 goats to get over here. Drove a cab for 9 years. Now his grandson hate niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know they fucking not from here. Because even if a nigga's a black American coon, like just a good old motherfucker, that nigga name like Tim Scott. Nigga got a look to him. Nigga face look like a big old 5-cent jawbreaker. Nigga got that old motherfucking uncle, nigga got that good old Sambo face from back in the day. You can tell a black American coon, nigga hairline recede the right way gracefully. You know what I'm saying? So you can still say, you know what? That's a good old boy from South Carolina. That nigga family been tap dancing for 475 years. Gunline boss. So you know what they look like. And they've always been manageable by us as black people, right? But what makes it seem like it's in abundance now in the political landscape and the cultural landscape and just the landscape of overall reporting on black people business is because it is. Like, you already got the natural Uncle Toms who gonna be Uncle Toms just because they come from a spineless bloodline of black Americans. You got that small percentage. But now you got all the Uncle Tom people that politicize off our dysfunction. Now you got all the Mona Scotts, you got the people who run the shade room, you got all these other entities of foreigners, you got all these foreign politicians, you got all these foreign podcasters and streamers, right? So now you got all this muck of foreign entities, and the only culture that they're attracted to is that of black Americans. So at some point, we just got to say enough. Y'all done copied enough, man. Y'all done copied rock and roll. Y'all done copied the blues, man. Y'all done copied hip hop. Y'all done copied the clothes, bro. Y'all done copied the slang. Y'all done copied the hairstyles. Y'all done copied the walks, the aesthetic. Y'all done copied lips, getting lip filters. Y'all done copied getting BBLs to get the ass. Y'all have literally copied everything that a black person has created. And don't say, because I know I'm gonna get that one right, white racist with a picture of his dog that's about to die. Talking about, well, white men built this country. They did. I would never disrespect some of the great white minds that helped build this country. You see how easy that was for me to say as an American? Regardless of the history of America, it's been some brilliant white folks that have built this country. but there's been some brilliant black ones too. And you wouldn't even better use a stoplight or a toilet or have open heart surgery without us. So that's the difference, right? But I can at least debate your opinion. If you white, maybe cool, I might agree with you, I might not. But if your grandfather been here, at least we got a leg to stand on for the betterment of America. It's just too much foreign influence in America, and it's getting out of control. Concrete Genius Pie, man, that was a long rant, but hey, it is what it is. I love y'all too, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? It's real out here in the field, man. We live, drop a star or something. You know what I mean? Drop a like or something, drop a star. Y'all know we heated, man. It's real outside. But nah, man, these fucking streamers and YouTubers and shit. And you rappers start selling y'all soul when y'all start going on them streams for that chump chain. That's when you niggas start shaking your ass and be on the stream. Now, I ain't gonna shit on all streamers. Cause I pay attention to what the young niggas doing. Cause if you watch them, if you watch the right young nigga, you know, if you'd have watched the right young nigga 5-6 years ago, you could have saw where this was going. And I'm always paying attention to the ones who separate themselves, the ones who get a bag and move around, don't do the goofy shit. Like I like the Duke Dennis guy. I like Duke Dennis a lot. You know what I'm saying? I like DDG. And I don't really have time to watch. I don't really watch nothing. I watch clips of things. I watch myself. That's really it. I watch Joe Budden. I used to watch Earn Your Leisure before they really got money, started doing deals in African shit. I used to watch them. But I don't really have time to, you know what I'm saying? Like between the content I create and responding to the people that like what I like, I'm pretty much my own movement, you know what I mean? And I'm my own man. So like I turn down sponsorships because I don't want to be restricted from what I can say. Like if I want to say the black community need to delineate from all people with foreign grandparents until we can get a hold on our culture and the direction of our culture. Because see, the thing is, black people, we don't understand is we've never had this economic power before, right? We've never had this amount of cultural cachet, right? To where the president can snatch the dude out of Venezuela and then use a Biggie line at the White House. So like, and this is why Puffy's in prison, right? So we've never had so much cultural cachet, cultural equity. I know a lot of people talk about digital equity, and digital equity is important. Trust me, I'm on this internet. I fight for likes. I fight for all that shit. But cultural equity is more important than digital equity because the culture is what's going to control what's on the internet, right? And then if it's on the internet, people start becoming acceptable to it, right? I'll give you an example. 10 years ago, if you couldn't have argued with somebody 60 years old and they would have said STFU, right? Now, the slang that my kids used when they was in high school is common slang on the internet for a 70-year-old white woman. LOL, STF, I know you fucking lying. Like, we have the cultural cachet to eliminate just a 3-year run, man. Just a 3-year run, bro. The black best writers, best singers, get to working on some classic albums. And I'm talking about the big dogs, the GOATs. We get some of the best rappers, the best producers, get some of the best visuals, get some of these program directors and these podcasters behind you, get some press runs. Let's get out some quality black music. Let's not worry about the opinion of outsiders in our music. It's just no reason for it. You know, it's no reason to hear somebody that's not been through what you've been through tell you about yourself. And that's how I feel when I hear a foreigner talk about Black Americans in any capacity, right? Because whatever you have to say about us negatively, you still have an obsession with us. I don't know shit about the news nowhere, even with the internet, unless somebody that's culturally relevant to America is in it. like an Anthony Joshua or Dennis Rodman go to North Korea or something happened in Mexico, somebody get kidnapped or something. But I ain't getting on the everyday daily news discussing what the fuck is going on in Latin music. I don't even have that much fucking time in my life. So if you not a black American, right? Even if you financially well off, if you came over here and your daddy, Dr. Unwumfe, became the head of neurology, right? You still ain't getting on the internet worried about what the fuck going on in Kenya. You worry about what the fuck going on in Kentucky, Louisville, Compton, LA, New Orleans, Baton Rouge. That's black cultural influence. Concrete Genius Pod, man. Follow me on all socials, man. It's me. I'm him. Y'all know this vibe, man. You know the jig, man. Shit is really, really what's going on. And Nicki topic went a little long. This last conversation may get a little heavy, so I apologize in advance, but I like to know with people, at what age do you accept that you may not get married? And this is an interesting conversation I was having with two of my esteemed friends over a couple of cigars, some bourbons and shit. But I want to know, is there an age that you concede that marriage might not happen? And this is for men and women, right? Because I believe, my theory is you only meet two, three if you lucky people in your life that you probably chemically balance with to spend the rest of your life, right? I feel like anybody else, you kind of forcing it. Now, sometimes timing plays a part. It could be the right person and one of y'all not ready, and then y'all still can get together and maybe some things change, but it's still worth it, right? But I don't believe you meet. Now, I believe men meet 10 to 12, 20 women that they could marry. But as a man, from my experience, and a dude that's probably dated more women than most average men, it's only 2.5 women you meet in your life you really want to be with for the rest of your life, right? Because it takes a really particular mix of women for a man that's independent to be with somebody he wants to be with for the rest of his life. Now I see a growing number of people saying, I'm happy being single. I'm happy being single. So my question is that peace or is that due to a lack of viable options? Right? And I know a lot of men think women are lying when they say they cool being single. And I want to tell you, brothers, by looking you in your eye, they not lying. Some are, right? But it is a large number of women that have accepted the peace of being alone. Because when you enjoy yourself, you have a great group of friends, you maintain your all your habits financially and pay all your bills like a functional adult. You got the ability to travel where you want, when you want. Being single ain't the worst shit, right? I mean, being a functional adult single is better than being in a dysfunctional relationship in any form of capacity. Now, a great relationship to me is the gold standard, but right up under a great relationship with two people that really, really love each other. I'm talking about like one of them end up in a wheelchair type love. Right up under that is the gold standard of being alone, right? Being alone self-sufficiently is better than a raggedy marriage by far, right? So I see a lot of women, a lot of men sometimes when they attack women, they like to use the trope and say, oh, you're going to grow up old, lonely, and you're going to dry up. Some women are kind of content with that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they've kind of gotten over and I don't know if I'm sad about that or if I just understand that's the way of the time, but a lot of women are really content about that, man. Like, so it's time for men to level up and figure out the necessary steps to become husbands before these women just really stop giving a fuck, right? Um, and I know a lot of men who content single too, so I'm not making this a woman thing because men get money. But the only difference is if when you a man and you got game and you really like taking care of your business, you taking care of yourself. Even if you ain't ready to get married, you can marry a girl worth marrying whenever you want to, right? So I feel like when men are single for a long time and they ain't been through, then sometimes it's something wrong with a nigga, right? Because it's almost impossible to be a single functional nigga in any decent sized town and not have no women pursue you, right? You damn near really gotta kind of be almost like a loser. You know what I'm saying? So when women say they comfortable single and men say they comfortable single, I kind of look at it a little differently, right? Most men that are comfortable single know they got two for sure prospects and then they got 5 or 6 possibles, right? With women, it's kind of like if this nigga Robert don't stop playing games, I'm just gonna be single. You know what I mean? Because the numbers are skewed, the numbers is different. And and I respect women who love themselves enough to be alone than women who fuck with hobos. You know what I'm saying? Like, learn how to shoot a pistol, go to the shooting range, get you some bear mace or something. But don't devalue yourself for the sake of a relationship. And the same with men, right? I know sometimes some men can be a little awkward. Sometimes you get in that position where you feel like you either getting taken advantage of or a woman ain't got enough to bring to the table. Stand your ground, brother. It's just like buying a car. You put everything you want in that box before you go in there and buy that car. I want the sunroof. I want the sports package. I want the leather seats. And I want less than 80 miles. You got to write down your goals, brother, and you walk in there and you know that's the woman you want. You got to hold strong. So my question is, when people tell you they comfortable alone, do you believe them? Or do you always desire partnership? And it's two types of comfortable, right? Are you comfortable because you have to be, or you comfortable because you didn't decide that you done, right? Because some people are comfortable. Like I got homegirls that's been comfortable for years and they meet the right nigga, boom, 41, they married, right? So I think that's good too. Oh man. I think that's very good too. But I think it's very important for us to know that to rebuild what we want, to rebuild what we need in the Black community, right? To put some foundation on what we have as Black Americans, some real foundation, not a flag, not some jokes about foreign people, but real foundation is we got to find a way to start loving each other, talking to each other properly, marrying each other, right? Increasing our capital, our net worth, leaving our money to our children with a plan that can benefit our children, and then start really taking real steps forward to heal the Black community, right? And then like by listening to a podcast like this. Concrete Genius Pie, man, get a copy of my book, The Game Changer. 8 Tips for Men to Find Peace, man. I am amazing. This book is amazing. This pod is amazing. You are amazing, and God is amazing. So have an amazing rest of your day. It's time for me to get my smoothie. I love y'all. Peace.